Welcome back to Getting Some Head, baby. I'm Michael fucking Rainey here with my homeboy, Mike McVeigh.
World.
How are you, brother?
Well, good to see you, brother. Happy to have you.
A tried and true OG, man.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd say tried and failed, old, decrepit, sore, broken. But yeah.
You look great.
Well, you do as well. It's absolutely great to have you back in Pennsylvania. I am honored to spend this time with you, to say the least.
Well, thank you for agreeing to meet with me, man. And Mike holds a special place in my heart for a lot of reasons. He's got a heart of friggin' gold, but there's one very specific reason where if Mike called me in the middle of the night and said that he had a friggin' escaped chimp that he's trying to track down and he needs a set of hands to wrangle this fucking thing, I would be the guy to do it for him without any questions asked, because Mike is responsible for getting me my beloved Chrysler 300.
The Chrysler 300 Silver. Yeah, I tell that story all the time, not because in my mind you're one of my famous customers, but I also tell it because the salesperson at the time was fairly new, and you went on the test drive, and when you came back, the salesman said, yeah, this fucking guy kept asking me where he could get a six-pack when we were on the test drive. So I was laughing about that. And then you walk in the office, and I'm like, how'd you like the car? You're like, the car's fucking great, but the sales guy kept trying to blow me. And it's just one of the best car stories. I tell it all the time. I share it with new people and people in the car business, because it's such a humdrum thing to go on a test drive with a customer and you're trying to sell them a car, and you get someone like you who's funny and charismatic and makes the process that much better. And what's even greater about it is you love the car, and it's been something you still talk about, and was actually disappointed it didn't make an appearance in the show when you were in the car.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. Whatever happened to the car?
It got repoed in like 2017, and I wasn't far from paying it off, but like, my finances just fucking shit the bed. They weren't great. Like, and that's one thing, like, I want to give you a lot of credit for, is because, like, when I went in to get a car, what did I have? I had a fucking Ford Fiesta, which at the time was great, but then it shit the bed on 95. I got off at Widener. I didn't know what was wrong with it, so I called my dad. I was like, Dad, can you just see if you can give me a jump? And my dad showed up. And you know how they got the overpasses on 95 by Widener?
Yes, it's Chester.
Dude, it's a horrifying place. And at one point, I'm calling for my dad to hand me something, and I look up, and he's not there. And I look around the hood of the car, and he's pissing off the overpass onto 95.
I mean, where else would you go?
I know. In his defense, I totally get it, man. But, like, that was emblematic of just how fucked that situation was. So I think I talked to our mutual friend and told him I had a fucked up car situation. Or I might have put it on Facebook, and you might have said, just come in and see me.
Yeah. I think you put on Facebook you needed to buy a car. And I saw it, and then we hooked up, and then next thing you know, you appeared like fucking in my office.
Dude, and I can't tell you enough. As much as I love that car, like, that was like a pivotal moment in my life, because, like, I'd been working class poor forever. Mm-hmm. And, like, I was convinced I wasn't ever going to have anything nice. I thought I was going to be relegated to just cars that were on the verge of death constantly. Like, I felt like $1 million leaving there. And it just felt like good stuff was never going to happen. Getting that car, dude, I cannot tell you what that made me feel like.
Well, it's amazing. Well, dude, my pleasure. Obviously, it's amazing that something like that, you can always change your perspective on things. Like, and to me, it was just a car deal. It was a car to a guy from the neighborhood, making sure he was taken care of. He had the car he wanted, the car he liked. But you never know what the other side of it is. Yeah. And that's kind of like what I deal with every day, is you really don't know the person sitting in front of you, what their ultimate goal is. Is this car going to get them the job that they've always wanted? Is this going to be the car that gets them to see their kids on the weekends? Whatever the case may be, sometimes it's much more than a car.
Yeah,
and I 100%. Think people lose sight of it. And I know that I've heard you over the years reference that car, and I always chuckle because you have your side of it, and I have my side of it, how it was so enjoyable and how the whole day I was laughing about it. And again, I think you bought that car in 2013. So that was 12 years ago, and that story still rings out in the dealership today. So it's just kind of a cool thing.
Dude, it was nuts. It truly did have a massive impact on my life. There were 2 points. Cars changed my life on 2 separate occasions. The one that broke down that led me to coming into you, that car changed my shit around, because up until that point, I had a 91 Geo Prism that I had forever. And at the time, I think I was making like 20 grand a year. And it needed a new transmission. And it's like, there's no way I can afford this. So I sold it for scrap. And I didn't have a car for like a year and a half. Now, at this point, I had 2 kids. So my wife did primarily most of the heavy lifting. would be walking to and from fucking Acme with 2 kids. And then my boss, my boss Carolyn, she got a new car. She's like, look, pay me whenever. I don't care. Take the car. It's yours. That changed my life. I was able to get a second job, and that turned my shit around. However, coming in to you and getting the Chrysler 300, finally a nice car that I fucking wanted. To me, it might as well have been, people joke that it's like a fucking hood Bentley. It might as well have been a Bentley because
there's definitely a stigmatism attached to the car at this point.
Dude,
you don't make them more. But what's wild about the car is to this day, you're getting people walking in looking for it because honestly, the American sedan is kind of a thing falling by the wayside. But the car had statue. It stood. It had great lines. The car looked richer than it was. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the allure. I think people always want to look bigger and better. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? And that car just really gave off a vibe. And yeah, I had a couple. I owned a couple of them, and I used them as demos as well because I love the way the car rode down the road. So
it was heaven, dude.
You won't get an argument from me. And walking with 2 kids to Acme, shit, I can't even imagine that.
Dude, that shit, my wife, she's a soldier, man. It's like I give her all the credit in the world for a lot of reasons, but she endured that. But when we got this car, man, like it truly fucking changed my life because it was the first nice thing that I ever had. And we went everywhere in that fucking car, man. There were so many great memories that like we had as a family simply because you hooked me up with it.
Well, you came to the right place at the right time. Things always happen for a reason. And again, you never know, like I said, what a car will do in a certain situation or what something means to somebody. And I think that gets lost in translation a lot of times because I think we as human beings get so caught up in the humdrum life, like, oh, another day I'm going to go in, this person needs a truck. Well, do they need a truck or do they want a truck, and why do they need a truck? Well, his wife or ex-wife moved to Jersey and he needs to go see his kids because the car now won't pass inspection. Yeah. You never know exactly where people are in life. And it goes for everything. I've seen people in cell phone stores lose their fucking shit over the cell phone, and people are like, oh, it's only a cell phone, but it might not just be a cell phone. It could be their only line to their children. They could have a family member or a friend out of state that's, sick or dying. And you never really know. And that's kind of why I try to just be a little back of what's going on to trying to take an observation of who people are and what they're going through. And I think the world would be a better place if everybody did. And your situation was no different in that time. You needed a car. I needed to sell a car. I didn't know at the time how big of an event that was, but I couldn't be fucking happier. And if I could find another silver Chrysler 300, I would fucking gladly ship it to you in Texas or have you pick it up. Or fuck it, I could just have a couple of the meatheads drive it down. Be a great, great road trip, put cameras in the car.
Dude, one more thing I want to add about this is going in there, like I mentioned, like working class poor. So I always felt like a fucking cat that was backed into a corner in every situation that involved having to have money. And when I went to the dealership that day, like I went in expecting that, even though I know you're a good guy, and you didn't waste any fucking time. You were just like, what do you want? What are you looking for? And I don't think I was at the dealership for more than like an hour and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's some things that the car business has changed. And I don't know that the way I do things, the way my boss wants things done, people don't want to fucking sit here for 3 hours to buy a fucking car. Like, I don't want to. If I could do it online, fuck. I mean, Amazon, Grubhub, DoorDash, no one wants to sit somewhere for any given amount of time. They want to literally sit on their couch, fuck around on their phone, do whatever it is they do with their lives, but they don't want to sit at a car dealership for 3 hours. I sell 40, 50, 60 cars a month, and I might only have 15 people come in the showroom. Yeah. Everything else is home delivery. Like, you can literally text me at 10 o'clock in the morning, tell me what car you want. I'll run everything. If we agree, I'm going to get the paperwork done, I'm going to get a car cleaned, and I'm going to deliver it to your house. So I think the car business has evolved. But yeah, keeping the time in the dealership down is also huge too, because, I mean, I bought cars prior to being in the car business. I had a life, and 3-4 hours sitting in a car dealership waiting for paperwork. And the longer you're there, you have the buyer's remorse and you start to think you're getting fucked and whatever else. But yeah, I don't have any interest in keeping people somewhere against their will. And make it quick, make it easy, and that's the way people like it. Instant gratification is the goal, and if you can get out of a dealership in an hour or under, I mean, that's the fucking way people like it.
Where do you think you were able to develop such specific and very, I think they're unique people skills, where you have that understanding of so many different things, where you're just like I said, like I was somebody who came in and just felt like the bottom of the barrel, but I walked out of there feeling like $1 million. And it wasn't just because we were friends.
No, I think people are human. And I think on a human level, and I think we all fail on a daily basis to remember that there's a human level there. And if you just listen to what people are saying, which I've always done. Now, people in my life may disagree that I don't listen very well. My children, I'm sure, would disagree with that statement. But if you listen to what people tell you, you're going to find out how to sell them a car. You're going to find out what it is they're trying to accomplish, what they need. Nobody likes the, I call it the Larry from the Regal Beagle type car sales with the gold medallions and the open change, and you look great in that car. That shit's old. People want to know, how much does it cost? What am I getting for my car? And what's it going to cost me every month? Mm-hmm. And if you can do that and deliver that in a way where you let your personality shine through. I work with a guy who, to be completely honest with you, has no fucking idea about cars. Mm-hmm. He cannot tell you where to put the oil, how to put a windshield wiper on. Guy sells 30 cars a month. Yeah. He makes a significant income, but he does it all based on personality. And at the end of the day, I think talking to people, I also call this forced interaction. Hire a lot of former law enforcement into the car business over the years. Those guys have always been successful because in the daily scope of their duties when they're a police officer, they're forced into these interactions with people that they would never in a million years outside of their job come in contact with. It's the same thing in the car business. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and a family of Indians comes in for a minivan. You have to be willing and able to engage them on a level that they're going to be comfortable. And if you don't, well, you're just going to spend 3 or 4 hours driving 4 or 5 minivans and they're not going to buy shit. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing. And you kind of have to be a chameleon. I tell my guys, the guys that I work with, you have to be able to adapt. You got to be able to go from the doctor to Mike Rainey to whoever the next person is and be able to be comfortable enough and confident enough to engage with them. Because if they like you, the motivation to buy the car from you is so much higher than you just being a stiff or a sales guy. Mm. And you also have to self-promote. You also have to be present. I always tell my kids, be present, be available, meaning be there when something goes wrong. I put my phone number out there on my business card. I put it on my Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. If you get a flat tire, if you need roadside assistance, if you have a problem with your car, am I the person that's going to fix it? No. I can barely get my car to start. But I'm going to engage you to get you to the person that's going to help you. And that's where you make the difference. I always said it's lonely on the extra mile. Well, you got to go the extra. And right now you drive around, car business is bad, numbers are down, but people still need to buy cars. And they're going to go where they're comfortable, where they're valued, and where they believe they're receiving the best value for what they're doing. And that's why I think we're able to weather these storms because, this September in the car business, I was debating actually doing like a foot fetish website or something like that after because
not taking your sneakers off
again. You made me do it when you got here because it was a tough month. It was a struggle. It was a grind, and I think a lot of people agree with that. But now we're on to October, red October, green October, whatever fucking color October we need. If you mix red and green together, I think you get purple, which is fucked up. But so we'll just keep it red and green. And we move on. But yeah, cars can change people's lives. And the car business, my boss, we talked about it, and I know he's kind of famous. Mm-hmm. He's a busy guy, and I know they caught him at an inopportune moment at the Sixers game.
Gets a little sleepy. You're busy, you get sleepy.
He does, and listen, and in all fairness, he did have a day. He's always moving, always going. He's at lacrosse tournaments for his son. His daughter goes to college in Chicago. He's flying for dealer meetings. He comes back, and we are a partner with the Sixers, so he obviously has courtside seats. He decides to rest his eyes, and the rest is history. And that night, I can't even imagine. I was sitting watching the game with my son, and I looked down, and I had 64 notifications on my phone. And I was like, fuck, did another plane hit another tower? What the fuck is going on with my phone? And I opened it up, and it was like, holy fuck, call your boss. He's sleeping on TV. There were a couple good ones. Poor Kenny Rogers, because our GM was actually sitting next to him, who may slightly resemble Kenny Rogers and George Carlin. So they were like, holy shit. And then it just ballooned from there. And by the end of the day, he was a meme. By the time I went to bed after the game, he was a meme. And to this day, We still hear about it. Customers will mention it, and he's a good sport about it. But, I think it was painted like he was hammered drunk. The reality is he probably had 1 or 2 drinks. I don't know what he exactly had, but
yeah, you work all fucking day.
He was working and he was flying. I think he flew from Boston or Chicago, and then he went to a Chrysler meeting somewhere, and then he drove back, and then he went to the Sixers game. It's probably fucking a game he probably should just watch from TV, but they're a partner of ours at work, and he had to be there because he had to be there. But, I mean, I've fucking dipped out. There's plenty of pictures of me on the internet sleeping at Eagles games, and I mean, it's not really a game till the fourth quarter anyway, so if you catch a couple fucking winks and you wake up for the end, and then if you don't and they lose, who gives a fuck? You don't even remember. So.
Dude, I think if I had to put together a list of people that I would describe as like the quintessential self-made man, you would be at the top of the list. Can you talk about like a few of the elements that transpired in your life that drove you to making the life that you have now?
Yeah, I think, being poor is a hell of a fucking motivator. Mm-hmm. I think that when you grow up, to be fair, I didn't know I was poor. Like, you don't know you're poor until you get older and you realize, fuck, we were broke. Like, we were on welfare. Like, what the fuck? So I think being poor is a hell of a motivator. And once you get to the point now, obviously working from when I was 17 or 18, my first job might have been, I worked at the balcony when I was a kid.
69th Street.
Yeah. Head shop. My mom had to be a pretty understanding mom. I was going to a shop to work in the clothes department where they sold pipes and fucking bowls and screens and weed, but that's a whole other story. So I think she realized early on that I wanted more. I didn't want to be, like we were talking about earlier, I didn't want to be there forever. I didn't want to be poor forever. So hustling, grinding, 1-2 jobs, and you want things. You want a car. I remember the first time I bought a car, I didn't even have a fucking license. But I wanted a car because I felt like if I had a car, I would motivate me to get a license. All it did was motivate me to get tickets. But so once you figure out that you don't want to be poor, you got to figure out where you want to go. And once I figured out that being broke, being where I was didn't work for me, it was about executing, making a plan. I realized early on when I was younger, I had no problem talking to girls. I had no problem talking to people. I could approach anybody. So I went into the sales aspect of things first in cell phones while I moonlighted doing security work. I worked Woodstock 99.
Whoa.
We didn't talk about this as one of the things.
Holy shit, Mike.
Yeah, main barricade. Great time. I was working at the E Center in Camden at the time, and we were contracted by a company called Staff One, who was heading security. So they bussed us all up there, put us in an old military base. It was in Rome, New York. Gave us nothing. We didn't have running water. Thinking back on it now, I'm surprised that the shit even went down the way it did. But they put us in an old military house that had no running water and had electric, barely. And they put 4 of us in the house. And we decided, obviously, with no electric or no water and barely having electric, all we needed to do was go get a keg. So we went to a local bar and we bought 40 pounds of ice and we bought a keg. And we just drank before we went to work doing security at Woodstock. And the rest is kind of history. I was on the main barricade when the Chili Peppers were on, and it came across the radio. I'll never forget it. I was telling my sons this story where they said, take your shirts off and make your way out. And I remember putting my hand up with the radio to my head and thinking, take my fucking shirt off. What the fuck is that all about? And then I realized that everything was on fucking fire and these maniacs were ripping the fucking walls down and they wanted us to get out without having our security shirts, thinking we may have been targeted or not.
Whoa.
So fortunately, at that point in my life, I was able to take my shirt off in public without fucking shaming myself. Mm-hmm. So we took our shirts off and we walked through what amounted to pretty much a fucking riot to where we were then bussed out of there back to our houses to get our shirt, where we were staying to get our shit and get out of there. Mm-hmm. But a wild experience. I had a blast doing it. And now 25, 26 years later, seeing myself on video, specifically a lot during Limp Bizkit, which was a good story because someone had pried a piece of plywood off one of the walls and it made its way up to the stage. And my boss at the time, one of the guys that was running it, I believe his name was Mike. He said, don't let that fucking idiot on that plywood. We'll never get him back. So between songs, Fred Durst attempted to get up on the plywood and he had cargo pants on, and I grabbed the leg of his cargo pants And I said, bro, you get on that motherfucker. We're not coming to get you.
Did he listen?
He said, hold my shorts.
Yeah.
Like I was holding him back. Cool. Fucking A right. And I stood there like a jerk off holding this fucking grown man's shorts so he didn't go crowd surfing off and get fucking raped and God knows what else in the crowd. But yeah, it was a great experience. And I think those type things kind of open you up where I always joke with people. If you've been broke, you don't fear anything. Like,
dude, that is the truth.
Once you've been to the bottom, you know where the floor. It's like a pool. When you jump in the pool, I'm the type of motherfucker that's going to go and find out where the bottom is, because then I know where I have to go to get up. And if you've never been to the bottom, if you've never struggled, if you've never been poor, if you've never sat 2 weeks before Christmas and said, do I pay the electric bill or do I buy Christmas gifts? Yeah. Then you really can't appreciate, in my mind, what it's like to have all the things you have. And, you know, I think that people a lot of times take that for granted.
Yes.
You know, even though we're Delco, we know that after the first day of winter, Pico can't shut your ass off until March. So if you're really fucking poor, then you know they can't shut you off in the wintertime, so you don't have to pay your Pico bill from December to March.
Yeah, write that shit down.
That's a little tip for everybody out there. They can't shut you off. It's illegal. But I think that, and then growing up with a single mom and my brother, it just gave me comedy, laughing, being an asshole. Anyone that'll describe me, I hear it all the time. Oh, you should do stand-up. You should do this. You do that. It's great. Doesn't really pay my bills. I love the idea of it. I love being funny. I love being a sarcastic asshole, which I know I am, which is why I gravitate toward people like you, because I feel like you're kind of the same person. There's always a reason to make somebody laugh. You can always find something to boost somebody's spirit. And I do it. And I know a lot of times, and maybe I don't boost everybody's spirit with some of the shit I say, but I feel like that environment with my mother and my brother, there was so much comedy. Like, my mother, she was on her own. You talk about Jamie. My mother was walking with 2 toddlers to doctor's appointments and taking us to school and things like that. And as you grow up and you realize, again, you're at the bottom. What the fuck do I care if I pop off at the mouth? What do I care if I put it out there? What do I care if I say something that maybe somebody else isn't comfortable saying? And then over time, you get into school, and I never had a problem getting up in front of crowds, talking to people. So my mom made me run for class president in 4th grade.
How'd you do?
I lost.
Yeah.
To a fucking, I don't even know what he was, a fucking immigrant kid, which I didn't understand. I didn't even think they could be president, but.
You might want to ask for a recount now, man.
His name was like, that was his name. And he beat me in 4th grade. I won in 5th grade.
Nice.
And my 5th grade teacher at Highland Park Elementary School, shout out Highland Park, Miss Hallsworth, who I believe passed away a few years ago, she said, wrote on my report card when I went to the middle school, he will be president someday. He's a great public speaker. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to be president of. It might be the fucking, National Society of Car Dealers. It could be fucking, card collectors. I really don't know. But that gave me confidence because that was someone that taught me saying, you can do whatever you want. You can speak. If you can talk to somebody and communicate with somebody. And then from 5th grade on, I was in talent shows and I was in plays, as stupid as that sounds. And I just got very comfortable being around people and talking. And I think that those things really gave me the balls, if you will, to be able to talk to people, to be able to walk up to somebody on a parking lot and sell them a car, to be able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody, to be able to talk to a girl that you probably have no business talking to. And confidence is a crazy fucking thing because as quickly as you get it, you can fucking lose it. Yeah. And that's all going to go to environment and it's all going to go to, obviously, support system. And with my mom, I had that. When I'd fuck up, come home, bar fight, covered in blood, head gashed open, she was my ally. I remember waking up in a drunken stupor. I was probably 17 and I was sleeping in my boxer shorts. I woke up and went in my living room and my mom was sitting on the sofa with my white jean shorts. Don't fucking judge me. I wore white jean shorts.
No judgment.
And she was washing them with milk because milk got the blood out of them. Okay. And I was like, man, what the fuck? Those type of memories, as fucking troubling as they are to some people probably, she was just my ride or die. And I felt like if I had her behind me, I'd be okay. And ultimately I am. I think the other thing is you have to be comfortable in your own skin. I know what I am and I know what I'm not. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost. I think a lot of people in this world think they are something they're not, or they try to portray they're something they're not. I'm very comfortable what I am. I mean, I'm 51. I have 4 amazing kids, and I'm a car salesman. Normally, it sounds like that would be a fucking prime candidate to start a fucking shotgun. But I make it work. I love my life. I love my children. I love my friends, my family, the people that support me, and the people, and honestly, the people that don't support me. Because at the end of the day, every story needs a fucking villain, and mine's no different. I appreciate the haters. I appreciate the people that think they can do it better than me. I appreciate the people that think they can do it smarter than me. But at 51, I'm not seeing a lot of fucking results from a lot of other guys. And you know as well as I do, when you're growing up and you're around certain people, you look at people, the people that are destined for greatness. And, you know, I always joke with my sons because they're in their 20s now. And I'm like, this is where you're going to see the change. Like, the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, this is where you're going to see the change between the pretty girls in high school and the pretty girls in their 20s. This is where you're going to see the change for all the football guys that were going to go to college and they were going to get scholarships and everything. Well, it doesn't always work out that way. And I think that's important to show my children at this age, because I went to school with a guy who I won't name, who was going to be on the road to fucking success. He had it all planned out. He has a scholarship. He's going to college, and graduated in 1993 with me. And he was on the road to greatness. And about 2007, I was in Springfield at Jim Steaks, and I think I might have been fucking around in the pet store looking at dogs. And he came in. And I'm like, oh, what's going on, man? How the fuck are you? He's like, I'm great, man. I'm doing great. I have my own restaurant. I'm running it. I'm in there day to day, everything else. I'm like, dude, that's fucking phenomenal. Let's congratulate. What are you doing? I said, I'm selling cars in Chad's Ford. Oh, that's great, man. That's good. You know, you get to be a manager. Maybe you'll have your own dealership one day. And he's giving me the fucking best life lessons. He's pumping me up. I'm fired up for him. He's got his own restaurant. I leave. I think I went and got the cheesesteak, and I just happened to look down the mall, the strip mall there in Springfield, Stony Brook Shopping Center. Yeah. His restaurant was Papa John's. He was running a Papa John's. So perspective is everything. He was running his own restaurant. It was a Papa John's. Nonetheless, more power to him. Just goes to show you that where you start in life isn't where you finish. And he had everything laid out for him. Good family, good kids, and good family, good parents, good money. He came from Drexel Hill, which, you know, growing up, Drexel Hill was where the rich kids lived. Unless they were really rich, they lived in Havertown. And he turned out where he was supposed to be. This is where he was supposed to be, and I'm where I'm supposed to be.
How has your idea of success changed from when you were younger compared to where you are now?
When you're younger, I think it's all about happiness or money. Everybody wants money. Everybody wants shiny things. Everybody wants the pretty wife and the nice watch and the nice car and the big house and the vacations and the trips and the flights. And I think what's happened to me is I've had a lot of that. I've had nice cars. I've had watches. I've had vacations. Big house, whatever it may be. And it really doesn't check the boxes. It doesn't fulfill you like you want. And what I've realized, probably more so in the last 5 years or so, is that I just want to be happy. Yeah. I want to be able to lay my head down at night, know everyone I care about's in a good spot, get my good 8 hours sleep, wake up and do it again. The world is going to do what the world's going to do. But the small piece of it that I am in, the part that I play in it, I just have to remain positive, and I have to make sure that I'm doing the things that are going to make sure my tribe is going to be happy. And I don't care about money. I feel like if you work hard, you're going to make money just because that's just the product of it. I don't care about fancy things. I don't care. I'm driving a 10-year-old Jeep with no fucking roof because I'm fat and I'm lazy, and I took the roof off Memorial Day and I refused to put it the fuck back on. So I'll do that until probably the first snowstorm, and I'll finally put the top on. But I don't need nice things. What I am searching for, what I seek now in life is nice people, and nice people that are in the same mindset, of the same belief that we're only going to go around one time. And I know that over the last 2.5, 3 years, it feels like every other week. I went back and counted because I'm such a fucking morbid guy. Since 2015, I've lost 27 people. So I'm averaging 2.7 people, and it's not like I'm losing, Jimmy I played Little League with. I lost my mother. I lost my best friend. I lost another best friend. I lost my best friend's dad. I lost my other best friend's dad. And it's all I think death becomes so normal until you start thinking about it introspectively, where I'm thinking about my own mortality. Because I buried a guy that I'd known since I was 9 years old. We were thick as thieves. And to have him die, I died a little bit that day. I left a little bit of me with him, and how he died, cancer, which is just fucking, I can't even get into that. Cancer is just, it's just unmerciful. I watched a guy that was a hulk of a man just fade away. And I won't forget that. And I don't think I should, but at the same time, all those things go into who I am now. I don't sweat the small shit. I don't yell. I don't scream. I don't argue. My kids will say, my dad doesn't. If I yell, it's not based in anger. It's probably just based in volume. And people that know me, people that know me, will tell you that if I'm quiet, that's a way worse scenario. Like if I'm not saying anything and I'm just shut down, you probably have a fucking problem. But I'm old now. I'm not out in the bars fighting. I'm not bouncing. I'm not dragging people out by their hair or by the neck. I do miss it sometimes, especially when you have a bad day at your regular job, and I just sit at my desk visualizing just snatching somebody by the fucking neck, choking them out, and throwing them on the concrete.
Yeah, baby.
But maturity prevents me, and the threat of possible lawsuits also prevent me from doing that. But yeah, I think who you are at 25 and who you are at 50 is considerably different. And if you're not different at 50 than you are at 25, you need to look in the fucking mirror. And I think all of us have to look in the mirror every day and figure out exactly what we're trying to get done, what our goals are. And I do it too. I mean, I reflect, I look at things, I look back on things I've done, decisions I made the last few years, and I've questioned them. And then I figure out that maybe I went about this wrong. You can't be above admitting your own mistakes.
I think that anybody that I admire, that's a trait that they embody.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't say you were wrong, and trust me, I come across them more times than you can imagine. Even recently, if you can't admit you were wrong and say you're sorry, I think there's something deeper wrong with you. I think, and again, never knowing what people's trauma is or where the fuck these issues come from. But if you can't be apologetic, if you can't look somebody in the eye and say, look, I fucked up, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And if you're the type of motherfucker that can't accept that apology, you're also flawed. And I think that's my two biggest pet peeves in the world is be gracious enough to admit you were wrong and be grateful enough to accept somebody's fucking apology when they're able to have their hat in hand and come to you and apologize. Accept it. Don't be a dick. Don't fucking shut down. Don't fucking, give them the silent treatment. Don't beat them the fuck up emotionally. Just fucking accept it. Your whole trajectory could change with that person and you guys could end that friendship, but accept the apology. Everybody deserves the closure. Everybody deserves the option of an apology and the option of accepting it. And I don't think it's really an option. Be a fucking good human being. Like, we're all going to have our moments. We're all going to fuck up, and be a man enough to say you're sorry, and be a man enough or a woman enough to say, I accept your apology. Doesn't mean things didn't change. It doesn't mean that the events that have transpired are going to be forgotten or go away. It just means that you're adult enough to understand that the person that did this to you or said this to you or whatever happened is adult enough and respects you enough to tell you they were wrong and say they were sorry. Be a fucking adult and accept the apology. But unfortunately, the world is full of a lot of people that aren't going to do that. Yeah. And that's just the way it is. And that's why there's different flavors of ice cream and there's different fucking strokes for different folks.
What is it that brings you joy in life? I mean, you mentioned family, so
yeah, I bet
that's at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
What are like some simple joys that you really love?
I love the fucking beach. I love the beach. I love driving around. I love jumping in the Jeep, throwing a backpack in the back, because it makes me think I'm going to fucking senior week.
Yeah.
And jumping in the Jeep and driving down the beach. A chair, a speaker, maybe some type of intoxicant, sit on the beach, listen to music, and put my fucking phone down. I'm never happier than when I don't have to look at my phone. Mm-hmm. I'm never happier when I'm not in a situation where I have to be texting or emailing or calling. The appeal of shutting down and just being a human on a very, very basic, quiet reserved, which again, if you meet 1,000 people that know me and they say, oh, Mike loves this, he likes to go to bars. Mike did. Yeah. Mike's looking for something different now. Mike's looking for a quality of life and a quality of peace that I just don't. My kids are top. My children are amazing. I tell them they're all the better versions of me. And once we get past those four, I mean, they're pretty much young adults now. Once we get past that and I talk about happiness or I talk about peace, it's being able to just turn the fucking world off. Social media, I'm not a political guy. The Charlie Kirk thing wore me the fuck out. And I do not have a dog in the fight. I don't give a fuck one way or the other, because I feel like any way you're going to lean, you're going to alienate 50% of the people you're friends with. I don't give a fuck enough. And I like the people in my life enough that I don't want to lose them over something stupid that doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But there's something that just didn't sit right with me, with children, my children, your children, kids, watching a man die on fucking social media. And it was over and over and over. And then what happens is these algorithms and things, it's just consistently nonstop. And I get it. And that's the way that shit works. But it wore me the fuck out to where I was literally sitting in my car. Like, I don't want to be on social media anymore. I don't want to fucking do it. It literally had that much of an adverse effect on my mental health. And so what I did was I didn't shut it down, because I do use it for business and I do have friends all over the world now, but I just stopped. Like, I didn't want to go on every day. I didn't want to watch every day. And I kind of let my algorithm and my life recycle through social media. And I'm like, man, like, I don't fucking need the negativity. So peace for me is something like this, sitting around bullshitting with a guy, taking a ride in the Jeep, taking the dog for a fucking hike. But I think things that normally 30-year-old Mike would have been like, it's fucking boring. Let's go to La Costa. Let's go to the Ocean Drive for fucking no shower happy hour. I would rather fucking light myself on fire than go to a bar. Mm-hmm. I would rather literally put needles in my cock than go to a fucking bar down the shore. And not because I don't fucking love the people that work there. I worked at La Costa. Uh-huh. I love the Ocean Drive guys. They're fucking awesome. I love the guys at the Your House. I just don't have the capacity for what comes with it. The fucking bumping, the pushing, the shoving, the noise, the people, the rudeness, the way that people in the service industry are treated. The way that people think because you spent $40 on some fucking quesadillas and a couple beers, that you get to treat a waiter or a waitress like a piece of shit just because you make $60,000 a year and she's a college kid, fucking infuriates me. I was in Tampa for an Eagles game 2 years ago. I had my son with me and my buddy Sean, and a guy, an Eagles fan in Tampa, in the Wing House, shout out Wing House Tampa, shithole, he slapped the waitress. It's clear across the face because she gave him the wrong tab. Well, my buddy Sean, retired cop, great fucking guy, former Marine, grabbed the guy up to call him out on why he just smacked the waitress. Well, the guy clawed Sean across the face with his long, extremely long, borderline uncomfortably long fingernails, and scratched Sean's whole face. So then I snatched him. I put him in a little bit of a chokehold, and I drug him out the front door of the bar. When I got to the front door of the bar, I blew a flip-flop. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have been in flip-flops, but I blew a flip-flop. They fold under the fucking front, and we were going down, and he bore the brunt of the weight of me going down. I then stood up by putting my fingers in his eye socket, and then Tampa's Finest was there to break us up. He went away with them. I went back in the bar. But I don't want to be involved in those situations anymore, and I am a fucking shit magnet. I can walk through the parking lot of Lincoln Financial Field and I'll walk into where the domestic's happening. I can go into a Wawa parking lot and there'll be a fist fight in the milk aisle. I'd rather avoid those situations because I'm always going to be a person that's going to get involved. These fucking people in this world now that hold their phones up and video these people being attacked or hit and shit like that, I lose my fucking mind because it's not how I was raised. If you see something wrong, you're supposed to step in, you're supposed to fix. Mm-hmm. People with kids, they see these kids getting attacked or kids getting jumped. I'll fight a fucking kid. I'll break a fight up. I don't give a fuck. There's no real gray area when it comes to right and wrong, and I think that's part of my problem. Yeah, I'd rather stay home. I'd rather sit on the couch and fuck around on my phone for 2 hours before bed, or watch a movie, watch a Phil's game, go to a Birds game, talk to my kids. There are so many other things you can do other than the things that are going to cause you fucking problems. And I don't know that being out late at night, a guy that I respect very much, a mentor of mine, said nothing good happens after midnight and nobody's furthered their career after 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I don't disagree.
Dude, one thing I wanted to ask you about, and you seem to have probably more fun than anybody that I see when you are on social media. I know you get out and about, going to fucking games, traveling for shit. When did you start like doing that kind of stuff, and like when did it take on like a level of importance for you?
If I go back to 2004, working at a car dealership, we had a relationship with Brian Dawkins. He was like our guy we had to deal with him, and I got to be around Brian, which gave me opportunities to get tickets. So I remember in 2007, we ended up with tickets to the 49ers game in San Francisco. Now, I had never been on a fucking plane. And here I am, 18 years ago? I was 33, 32, however old I was. Never been on a plane, Upper Darby guy. The furthest, a fucking exotic location to me at that point was the fucking lagoon.
Yeah.
At a park and water.
R.I.P. Lagoon, by the way. Goddamn. If you've never been, I feel sorry for you, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never been, I can assure you they didn't have a neck tattoo, and they've never been on parole. But, the lagoon was a spot. It's where my son's mother and I met, believe it or not. So,
nice.
Yeah. I tell people we met online. But he opened it up with give me access to tickets. So I go out to San Francisco. We go out there. We rent you rent a fucking convertible because you're in California. And after that, I kind of had this bug like, yeah, this is kind of cool. So I tried to pick a game out. My kids were little then, 3 and 4. And then I would go to 1 or 2 away games. And then over the years, as I got better at work and life got better for me and I was making more money, I was able to continue to have relationships with guys on the team. Brian Mitchell was a great fucking guy. Brian Mitchell, in 2001, we went up to New York it was a Monday night game against the Giants. And we got into a scrum in the upper level at Giant Stadium, and it ended up becoming quite a battle. It was so much of a battle that sports radio was talking about it on the way home. Big Daddy Graham had done the overnight, and we actually called in, and we're like, yeah, that was us. We just got out of the fucking holding cells in the bottom of Giant Stadium. And the next morning, Howard Stern was like, what was up with 3 Eagle fans beating the fuck out of a section of Giants fans last night? So it was like my moment of fame. My mother was so fucking pleased. The same year that I actually my mom blamed me for starting the riot on South Street because we did that on Fat Tuesday. We worked security at that, and that fight broke out, and I was in the middle of that shit too. Again, I'm a shit magnet.
You're finding the shit, man.
I'm a shit magnet. I could go to a monastery and I'd get in a fight with a fucking monk. But once I got to know some guys on the team and being in the car business and football seem to go hand in hand from an advertising standpoint, and also from a passion standpoint. Football players, Landon Dickerson, great guy, Westchester resident, loves cars. He has a classic fastback Mustang he's been restoring, we talk about. He also has a super, super awesome early 60s Power Wagon he's redoing. So naturally we have a connection there, and knowing him opens us up to we can kind of go to games we want to. I went to the Super Bowl in 2017. It was -6 degrees, and I don't ever remember telling anybody the stories from that weekend, telling them it was cold, because you were just on so much of an adrenaline rush the entire weekend. I went with a couple of Delco guys. We got an Airbnb that was literally a block and a half from where George Floyd died. Obviously, before it happened, we were in Little Somalia. We had no fucking idea. You book it online. We pull up, and in the car at the time, there was a Trenton police officer, a Miami police officer, myself, and my other buddy who happened to be a bookie at the time. And the Trenton cop said, the way I know I'm in a bad section of town is I sit at the stop sign and I count the white people. We didn't do any counting. There were none. So we went to the liquor store, and when we walked in, the owner of the liquor store had a Desert Eagle on his hip, and he approached us and asked us what was wrong. And we said, no, we want a case of Pabst Blue Ribbon and a bottle of rum. And he said, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Do you know where you are? We're like, no, we booked an Airbnb online. He's like, well, you're in the hood. So we got our beer. We went back. We were not deterred at all. All I kept visualizing in my mind that night, and I actually said it. I said, this is fucking giving me Coming to America vibes. No. We're going to go out to Ron Jaworski's party tonight, come back, and the whole fucking neighborhood's going to be wearing our clothes. Fortunately, it didn't happen, and the rest is kind of history. We won that Super Bowl. We went back in 2023. We got our dick kicked in. I went there, Arizona, and again, -6 degrees, Minnesota, cold, little Somalia. I would take that every day over fucking 80 degrees, Arizona, because I think everything went too perfect that in 2023. We went to that game, and I ended up sitting in a row with a bunch of golfers because there's some fucking waste management golf thing out there. I don't know anything about golf. I swung a golf club one time, broke a windshield on Elish Brennan's car in Stonehurst. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Elish Brennan.
That was my sister's friend.
Was it really?
Yeah.
She was an asshole. Her brothers tried to run us over. That's the only way we broke the windshield. But I hit it with a golf.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about that name in so long. Dude, I would dwell upon like how unique it seemed that name was because that was the only Elish I had ever met.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever met another Elish as well, but her fucking windshield went down in fucking one swing. Yeah. Again, sorry, I was a juvenile delinquent, but they're talking to me about golf, and I don't have a clue. And none of them are wearing shit. So it's Chiefs Eagles. We're sitting in the last row of the lower level, and I said to the guy, I said, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, well, he came in third in the fucking waste management thing. I'm like, that doesn't fucking mean anything to me. Does that mean he can buy beer? Did he win some money?
Yeah.
And he evidently won a couple million, so he started buying rounds of beer. Well, in Arizona, they don't have a limit. So you go up and you say, hey, give me 12 beers. They give you 12 beers. And the guy, they were all buying rounds, and I went to the bathroom, and I figured on the way back, let me grab a round. So I said, yo, how many beers can I get? And the guy's like, how many do you want? And I'm like, I said, I need 10. He's like, you can buy 10. It was $240, whatever it was. So I pay him, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to carry them all. He goes, I won't open them. I'm like, you won't open them? He's like, no, I'll give them to you clothes. You can wrap them in your shirt or your arm. Man. I'm like, that's fucking great. And then I looked at him, I said, this shit would not fucking fly in Philadelphia. He's like, why not? I'm like, because it would literally fucking fly in Philadelphia. I said, we'd be launching these fucking things like missiles from the fucking 200 level down at the other team. And he's like, I never thought about that. And in that moment, I'm like, man, these people have no fucking idea what they're getting themselves into because they're pumping the crowd through. I was overserved at that game, and we lost. And I remember just being so fucking angry. We left the game, and I wanted to go to a dive bar. Yeah. I was drunk. And the group of us wanted to go to a dive bar, and they picked this dive bar, and it didn't have any fucking windows.
That's perfect.
I'm like, I'm not going in.
No, why not?
Fuck, dude. Bar, no windows, near the border. I just imagine they're going to strip me fucking naked. I'm going to be in some fucking tunnel packing coke from a fucking hotel. I'm not going in. They all thought I was crazy. I was not fucking going in a bar with no windows. It just weirded me out. So we did the next best thing. We went to fucking In-N-Out Burger drunk and gorged ourselves. And that was that. And we lost the Super Bowl, and I was dejected, and I didn't watch sports. I didn't turn the TV on or listen to sports radio or anything until probably July of that year because I was so just disgusted. It's not even disgusted from a money aspect. I feel like we should have won that game. So New Orleans comes about last year, and all the guys, and there's a big group of guys. Shout out to the Whiskey Wagon guys. Walt, Mike, Irish. I said I'm going to go. It's New Orleans, one of my favorite towns. My son goes to University of Alabama. It was only a 5-hour ride for him. So I said, yo, let's do it. You meet me in New Orleans. He's like, all right, I'm going to leave at 3 o'clock on Friday. We got an Airbnb. We're all set up. And then my son calls me back. He goes, yo, you care if I bring a buddy for the ride? Nah, fuck. Who gives a fuck? He can party on Bourbon Street during the game. Next thing you know, 5 kids are showing up from the University of Alabama to the Airbnb. And we were in Springfield, Louisiana, and we found our home at a bar called Boopaloo's. Boopaloo's, shout out Boopaloo's, great fucking bar. We had a blast. We did Bourbon Street the right way. We learned a lot, met a lot of people, and ultimately the most surreal Eagles game I've ever been to. Yeah. I was there. I was sitting on the edge of my seat. People were FaceTiming me, telling me it was over. I should go party.
Oh, dude.
I did not. I didn't think it was over till it was 27-0, and I called my boy Brad on FaceTime, and I said, can we, because he's the most cynical, negative. He is Robert De Niro in Silver Linings Playbook. Like, there is no fucking he is exactly that guy. And I'm like, dude, can we start celebrating? He's like, fuck no, it's Pat Mahomes, and he hung up on me. And what's nice is I'm literally sitting in a row with Cam Jurgens' family, Cam Jurgens' girlfriend's family, her dad, and we're talking, and he's kind of looking at us like I'm fucking insane because I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I had one beer. I went to the bathroom one time. I did not do anything else. I didn't care about anything other than winning that fucking game. And then walking out of the stadium, the most surreal thing, and if I had a moment, I should have taken a picture. Eagles fans were in unison walking out after the game, and about 300 yards, 400 yards ahead of us, wherever we went, was all the Chiefs people because they'd already left. They were long gone. So they were getting better seats at the bar, and we didn't give a fuck. My son and I, we ended up finding a little bar off Bourbon Street, and it was surreal. So I think knowing players, knowing guys that travel, having groups of friends that are as passionate about it is what's now my kids are in. Like my kids, I'm trying to complete the 32 stadiums. I have 22 of 32 done. I have 9 left, and my sons are now ticking off what they have. They're, 2 of my sons have been to Tampa Bay. My third son, Michael, or my oldest son, hasn't been to Tampa Bay yet, but he's been to New Orleans. My one son's been to New England with me. They've all been to Dallas because it's a trip we had to do. And it's kind of football. I always say all the time, football's family, that they have the same passion. And it motivates me. It makes me be involved. Like this week, my date for the game for the Broncos is my daughter. I'm not really sure what her passion is about it. I know she likes to get dressed up and put an outfit on because she's 16. She's a cheerleader. She likes football. She likes football, but she's a girly girl. She's definitely not a tomboy. I thought she was going to go that way when she was younger, but she's been on me. She wanted to go to the Rams game, and now we're going to the Broncos game on Sunday, so that'll be nice. It's going to be 80 fucking degrees.
Dude, I think, to me, like, that's why this shit is important. And it's not because, fucking scores matter. It's like, yeah, they do affect, like, the way you feel, but it's like the binding that this kind of shit causes. Mm-hmm. It's like you could think back to so many different moments. Like you mentioned 2017, fucking last year. How many fucking NFC Championship game losses and who you were with and what you guys did and where you guys ended up. And it's like, there's so many different, like, think back when the Eagles got good again, man. It's like there was so much dog shit in the 80s, 90s. I remember it was fucking the first year Eagles made the playoffs with McNabb. We played the Bucks at the Vet. Mm-hmm. And like my dad came to that game and he was there with me and my buddies. And I was like, my worlds like came together. It was like, I never foresaw a time where I would be hanging out with both my dad and my friends. And like, that's like, I don't know, that's like the magical shit about all of this.
Football, I think football, and I've seen it because obviously I was throwing huge tailgate parties for the last 9 years. I'm on sabbatical. Some people think I'm retired. Some people think I'm done for good. Some people think I'm just taking a year off. I don't even fucking know. So if you're watching this and you think you know what the fuck I'm doing, just like anything else in life, I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now. I haven't decided, but I know that I'm taking the year off. I'm going to spend the time, take my kids to the games. Mm-hmm. But we became a family. I mean, I had 500 people at my tailgate for the NFC Championship game. Wow. 500. I had news crews from Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. We had Jason fucking Kelsey at my tailgate party, eating a cheesesteak, hanging out with my daughter who could have cared less that it was Jason Kelsey. She just walked up and said, "What's up, Jason?" She's been around him since she's a baby. And it was just fucking, we are a family. And I take that very seriously. We've lost numerous people over the last few years. The NFC Championship game, one of my great friends was a Commanders fan. We lost him in March. Completely unexpected. First responder, firefighter, just an all-around fucking good guy. But that brings everybody else closer. We're gonna rally now. We're gonna honor his memory. The guy that kept my shit wagon toilet with tires, my mechanic, my best friend in the world we were talking about earlier, he passed away. Cancer took him. Another guy that was with me in 17 at the Super Bowl got all fucked up in 22, stole my koozie, and when I was at the Super Bowl in Arizona, he texted me drunk and said, "Yo, stole this from your RV. I'll bring it back to you after we win the Super Bowl." We lost him in a motorcycle accident. So it's kind of, football has a way of bringing people together, and I think it allowed a lot of us to heal. Even the guy that coined the name, the Whiskey Wagon, Artie, we lost him. We continue, I think, to get closer as a group as we continue to take these losses. And I think I personally, that was a support system that got me through a lot of this, because a lot of things from 2015 till now, the last decade hasn't been kind. It hasn't been kind to anybody. The world, I think, the world got an enema with COVID, and I don't know that we've ever gotten back to what the fuck we were or who the fuck we were post-COVID, because I think there's a generation of kids who don't know how to fucking act. But football definitely breeds family, the memories. I look at the pictures that my children, and they're in their jerseys, and I get proud dad moments. My son comes to me 2 weeks ago, he goes, "Dad, I want a fucking Trent Cole jersey, and I can't find one anywhere." I'm like, challenge accepted. Mm-hmm. Make a couple phone calls. There's a guy that I know that he's a sneaker plug. So I call him and I said, "Yo, you got a jersey guy? You got a guy you can get jerseys?" He's like, "Yeah, I got a guy, but he's in Patterson, New Jersey." He gives me this phone number. I text this guy and I'm like, "Yo, I got your number from so-and-so. This is what I'm looking for." He writes me back, "Where are you located? What size are you looking for? And what jersey?" Because there's obviously green, white, black. I said, "I'm looking for a Trent Cole jersey in a medium." 2 minutes later, he sends me a picture, $60. My kid's like looking everywhere. I'm like, it's a weird one. So I end up getting the jersey, shipping it to him. My kid's over the moon. He wears it to the home opener. Those type of things are what I think is passing this passion and this fandom down to these kids, because my sons are probably every bit as rabid as I think my one son, Matthew, enjoys the tailgate a little more than the game. But even my 16-year-old's been thrown out of an Eagles game, so he's a true fan at this point. They freak out when you throw up on somebody. Yeah. So, it's frowned upon. But football is a huge part of life. Not as big a part as people may think it is. I think people get the wrong impression. I'm not painting my fucking face. I'm not fucking putting numbers on my chest. I'm just kind of a really, really intense person who loves the team. And I remember my first Eagles game. I remember who I went with, because obviously growing up with a single mom, my mother was able to get tickets, and it was December of 1983. And in true Eagles fashion, we lost on a field goal to the motherfucking Saints, and that was my first game. And it lit the passion for the team. And you are about my age. We were bad, fucking bad. And my kids don't understand. They think you have a bad year and you go back to the Super Bowl. I'm like, you don't understand.
There's nothing.
Dude, from fucking 94 until, 2000, it was bleak. And then we didn't make the playoffs for 6 or 7 years here in the early 2000s, too, when Andy was too long in the tooth and he drafted Kevin Cobb. And, we can point to a million things. But the kids don't know. Like the Phillies had their, fucking 10,000th loss a couple years back. They don't see that. My kids are like, we were in the World Series and we're 08. We were in the World Series in 09. We were in the playoffs in 2013. We were in the playoffs in 22. We went to the Super Bowl, and I'm like, you motherfuckers are spoiled.
Yeah.
TV blackouts. You tell it.
That was it. Yeah, the fucking games, you had to pray that they sold the fucking game
right,
out.
And then they Scott Tissue, I remember, used to go out and buy all the tickets.
Yeah.
Because then they wouldn't have the blackout. But, yeah, you tell a kid now, you couldn't watch it. Like, I can watch it on YouTube. I can watch it on NFL Network. I can watch it. And we didn't fucking have anything. Mm-hmm. You'd be listening to Merle Reese on the fucking radio, if you had a radio, because the game was blacked out on TV. Football is definitely something that can bring me joy. But as you know, it can also bring me fucking heartache and heartbreak. Mm-hmm. And that's... I try very hard not to let football affect my mentality, but I think the whole entire area, Philadelphia area, does the same thing. And I think from September until January or February, I think a lot of people's moods, personalities, and lives are all determined by the success or failure of that fucking football team, which I'm cool with.
Dude, and finally getting one in 2017, that definitely changed things for a lot of different reasons. But, leading up even further back, leading up to 2008 with the Phillies, it truly felt like the city was cursed. And it was just, if the teams were an absolute bottom barrel dog shit, there was going to be a crushing playoff loss. And then finally the Phillies winning, that changed everything. But then still, it was like the Eagles had been the centerpiece of so many people's lives in this area for so long. Seeing them finally win in 2017, and in the way they did too. If somebody had told you going into the game the kind of stats Tom Brady was going to put up in the fucking Super Bowl and you'd said, "Oh, by the way, the Eagles are going to win this fucking game too," you'd be like, "Whatever." There's zero chance that happens. So being able to kind of rewriting, I don't know, feels like your fan brain's rewired from that one fucking victory. But then to go back to the Super Bowl, as bad as that fucking loss was in 2023, and then go back again last year, and that was the most stress-free game I had ever fucking watched. And to think that it happened in the Super Bowl is insane.
I think, it's funny you bring that up because I feel like we are conditioned to expect the worst.
Yeah.
Like as Philadelphia sports fans, we're playing the fucking Dodgers in this NLDS. Doom and gloom. I can't even fucking imagine what sports radio is like right now. Hotani and this and that. Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, sure he wasn't fucking gambling. Sure it was his fucking interpreter. I'm sure he didn't notice the $5 million out of his fucking bank account and the withdrawals. I'm sure he never logged into his phone and checked his fucking bank. That's a whole other fucking story. They couldn't have the face of baseball go down for gambling and be banned for life. So that poor bastard fucking interpreter's in jail. But I think we're conditioned to the other shoe dropping. And I don't know that that's not a human condition. It doesn't just relate to sports. What can go wrong will go wrong. And it goes with business as well, too. Flying on a fucking plane. Like, I get to the airport, taking the kids to Disney. This is 10, 12 years ago. All expense paid trip. Fucking plane, landing gear. Now I'm stuck in the airport with 4 toddlers for 5 hours waiting for another plane coming from Arizona. And this is supposed to be a positive and ends up being a fucking nightmare of a trip. So I think we're all conditioned to what can go wrong will go wrong. And as you get older, like me, I'm wiring my brain now. It ain't all bad. It's not all going to happen like that. I control this motherfucking shit. I'm steering the ship. It doesn't have to go this way. And then making the choices that are going to lead you to not go down the negative or the bad way.
Mike, I could talk to you for hours, but before we wrap it up, I want to ask you one more thing. I want to know, what's one thing that you're truly grateful for?
I'm grateful for my tribe. I think being who I am, where I am, what I am, I think that the people that I have in my life, and I'm talking my inner solar system, and then deep space, and the people that I connect with, the people that I talk to, people that support me, and the people that back my play. That's what I'm most grateful for, because I wouldn't be where I am. I don't think I'd be half of what I am, and I'm a work in progress. I'm not done. I think there's more to come from me. I just don't know what it's going to be. But the people who consistently check in, the people that can consistently show up, the people that are waiting with bated breath to see this video, to see this interview, the people that have been blowing me up, how can I do it? Where can I do it? Those are the people that are cheering for me. Those are the people that, quite frankly, keep me going, because I have people out there that I have to fucking perform for. There are people out there that I have to deliver for. There are people out there that are counting on me. And knowing that, and knowing not only are they counting on me, but they're also clapping. They're also cheering me on. And that's my biggest thing. I have a quote on my desk at work. It says, pay attention to people that aren't clapping when you're winning. And I agree, and that's why I have it. But I also say you got to pay attention to people that are. You got to make sure the people that are celebrating your victories for you are celebrating your victories with you. And I think there's a very, very gray area with that, where you can be successful, kind of like we were talking about, but I want to be successful with my people. I don't want to be a success story and leave them behind. I want everybody coming with me. We were talking about Allen Iverson. I didn't get drafted. We all got drafted. I want to be successful. I want you to be successful. I want us to be on this road together. And I think ultimately I have a great support staff. I have a huge tribe of people who have my back, who support me, who drive Chrysler, Dodge, Jeeps, Rams, because that's what I sell. I have people to support my social media stuff. And at the end of the day, I think it all starts and ends with people, and that's all it's about for me.
Mike, you emanate goodness through and through, brother. And, I'm proud to know you. And more importantly, man, I love seeing all this good stuff in your life, man. And it's like you deserve everything that you get, man. And I hope more and more is in store to come for you, brother.
Likewise, I think now we should probably get some beers and go to fucking Midgetville.
All right, I'm off the wagon, baby. Midgetville, here we come, baby.
Yeah, it's still there.
Dude, guys, thanks for tuning in to Getting Some Head with my buddy Mike McVeigh, the fucking man, dude.
Go Birds.
Mike, what else? You want to promote anything before we go?
No, if you got good credit, you got bad credit, come see me. You need a car, a Jeep, a truck, let me know. Mention Mike Rainey. I will take care of you. I don't have a Chrysler 300 for you, but if you mention Mike Rainey, I promise you, you will get the Easy Pass lane. Yeah. You won't be in the dealership for 4 hours with some guy with a gold medallion and chest hair trying to sell you a fucking overpriced minivan. But if I can help you in any way, if you want me to tell you where to tailgate, you want me to tell you how to get Eagles tickets without getting raped and pillaged, you need advice about your car, your credit, a loan, hit me up. Just mention Mike Rainey's name. It's the secret word.
Mike, you're the fucking best. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Later.